Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Hawk Vision Podcast. I am your host, Chuck Hawkins, here to help you shorten the learning curve on your way to greatness. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe across all of your social media platforms. More importantly, guys, share this podcast with other visionaries just like you, because like I said, this is the second season. And as you already can see, with the past few shows, this lineup for season 2 is just getting bigger and bigger. The information that you will be able to hear and learn from can absolutely change your life. That being said, this week's guest is nothing short of a phenomenon in her own right. She is someone that I have watched for over 10 years build a platform and a business for herself that is absolutely unparalleled. She's not only a highly successful businesswoman, but she's a trailblazer as well. This week's guest is an award-winning author, producer, podcaster, and director. She's been a triple threat just there, but not even, wait, there's more. She's an author, 17 published books, a speaker, consultant, media mogul, all-around rock star. Most importantly, she's this week's visionary, Miss Tamika Newhouse. Welcome to the show.
Chuck, thank you so much for bringing me on. I'm excited to dive into this conversation with you. And as you stated, hey, this is full circle. We back 10 years later, huh?
Man, it's been a long time, and you've been absolutely killing it. And I would be remiss if I didn't lead with the question that just made. When I was putting everything together after we confirmed the date, I was doing some additional research because we've been watching each other for a long time, and I can't do this interview without asking you what it felt like to be called the Shonda Rhimes of Black publishing.
Oh yeah. It was, I ain't gonna front. I'm not really good at celebrating myself. I'm not that great.
Yeah.
But Adweek called me the Shonda Rhimes of Black publishing in their summer 2020 issue. And it was like, all right, that's what's up. That's really all honestly, that's it. That's what's up. Like, I have it framed. It's in my office.
Right.
But it's not like let me not sound arrogant, but let me just give myself my own flowers. You damn right. That's who I am. Yes.
Well,
that's
like,
it wasn't a shock value.
Yeah. And I think a lot of top producing people are the same way. Like, we don't get caught up in celebrating ourselves because we're focused on what's next, right? And so, but I know
we don't focus. We don't do this for the praises. We don't do this for the awards. It's really passion driven, and then it's just something that's just in us. So we're doing it just to be doing it, and to get acknowledged for it, that's great.
Yeah. But I will say this: to get that award, what is it? 300 published titles under your Delphine Productions?
Yes.
Like, that's not a game. 300? Most people struggle to do one.
Over 300, yeah.
I love it.
Now, I've had a lot of publishers surpass me because, publishing nowadays it's an overly saturated industry now.
Yes.
But when I was doing it at the height of Delphine Publications, we had like a little over 30 writers. Okay. And we would put out 2 to 3 books per month. And with it being an independent imprint, that was some hard stuff, because I took pride in every project. There's a process. And I branded every book, branded every writer. Nowadays, you got people putting out books like they taking a shower every day. Like, what is we doing?
With 1,500 misspelled words and missing chapters and everything. Yeah.
It's not a novel. It's like 20,000 words, 10,000. And now Amazon just released something called Amazon Bella, something like that, where you can just release chapters, which is funny because it's something that even I did maybe 7-8 years ago. I used to release deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Or missing chapters. I would release those by itself on Kindle to kind of boost the book in itself. So, or I would put out an alternate ending. And I used to always visualize DVDs back in the day. DVDs used to come with what?
Yeah.
Interviews, deleted scenes, alternate endings. You feel me? So I used to implement the same thing in our books.
So I'm about to give you a new one. Not only are you the Shonda Rhimes of Black publishing, you might also be the Master P of publishing. doing it, you know,
That's a
differently.
Master P.
Listen, if
Master P
rich, but you were doing something that they just started doing, you know, like I think that what's funny is on our first interview, you called yourself a visionary before some of the things that took place happened. And I'm going to send you, I know we were talking offline, I'm going to send you the old audio, but you called yourself a visionary then. How does it feel to look back and know that of all the things that you've created, now companies like Amazon are taking a page out of your book?
It is bittersweet.
Okay.
And I just invented a whole other genre too in podcasts. I'm still I'm visualizing like the next leg up.
Yes.
And it's bittersweet because I do this because I love and I enjoy doing it.
Right.
And I want to make change. You know, I want to activate people's dreams.
Right.
But then you have, you know, these multi-million-dollar, trillion-dollar companies that, you know, they will take it and you know, and they make it their own. That's great.
Yeah.
But I ain't get no check. So it's bittersweet. It's a little bittersweet.
I can totally understand that. Totally understand that. So let me ask you this. Knowing that you wanted to be a writer since you were 12, does winning the African American Literary Award mean more or feel different than any of your other awards?
Absolutely. I've won 8 of those. And the very first one that I won, it was 9 months after I put out my first book. So this is back in 2009. And I remember getting on the plane to head to New York for the very first time.
Okay.
And on that plane behind me was Mr. Eric Jerome Dickey.
Wow.
And Eric was, you know, he just passed this at the top of the year in January. And Eric was the writer that fueled my love for Black romance, Black fiction.
Yes.
And a lot of my stories were modeled after him. And I won my first award in front of him. He sat back, like literally behind me on the plane.
Wow. On
the way to New York. Like it was one of those surreal moments. And it was, and again, it was a little bit bittersweet because my mother had just passed me a year and a half prior to that. So I wasn't able to really, you know, show her, hey, mama, I actually did it. And not only did I do it, look who's behind me. Like it was one of those moments. So winning those awards, I won it for being self-published author of the year. I also won for book club of the year for AMBC. And I won it for a publisher of the year for Delphine Publications. And I have 8 in total. And they all have a huge significance in my life. Like I cherish all those awards. Wow. But that first year, like that one hands down, 9 months after I put out my first book. Yeah, that was life-changing.
How did you, I mean, we're going to get into the business and the marketing and all that, but 9 months of publishing a book and now you are an award winner. How did you create the buzz, the groundswell? What was the marketing plan around book 1?
There was none. See, what's interesting is I think people get caught up in trying to make their dreams come true and I guess not really just sometimes going with the flow and also enjoying it. So once I discovered that I could because I didn't know that I can make my own dreams come true. At 12, I told my mother I was going to become this full-time authoress. But I did not know that I had to get an authoress. Get it right.
I'm with it. But
I didn't know. I had no idea what self-publish was. I didn't know that I could publish my own book. And then when I discovered that fact, I took it and ran with it because wasn't nobody about to tell me nothing. I could put my own book out. I would remember a month before the book even came out, I was booking my first flight to North Carolina to do my first book signing. I remember $400 for that flight. Flights was high as hell back then. I don't know why, but $400 for the flight, hotel, all that. I spent a lot of money for this trip.
Yes.
To only sell 2 books. And then I gave 2 additional books away to a Black-owned bookstore there. So I gave out 4 books.
Okay.
So I was able to get $100 a book.
Right.
No, they was like $10 a book. Tell me like $40, you know.
Right.
But when I got on the plane back home, asked me how I felt.
Do tell. How did you feel?
Like I won $1 million. You know why? Because there was four extra people about to read my book that had never heard of me before. I was hyped. I was so hyped. I booked the flight the next month, and next month. I was online all day, every day. I was annoying people. I was in all of the writing groups.
Yeah.
I was creating discussions behind my book. In my own city, I was going to writers' conferences. I was doing my research. I was doing interviews such as these.
Sure.
And what's funny is when I won that award in New York, right there in front of Eric Jerome Dickey, there was an editor in the audience of Kensington. And she said, "Hey, I've heard of you. Can you send me your book?" And I said, in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's $15. Because, I'm still, I need to sell my book.
You're still grinding, right.
$15. Right. But I'm like, you know what? I'll go ahead and give her one. I gave her a book, totally forgot about it. She reached out a few months later and offered me a book deal. And that was rare. You normally have to have an agent to get a book deal. And all that happened because I was just simply obsessed and consistent with my dream. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't trying to strategically move this and do that. I was just excited. And I wanted to be everywhere that I possibly could. And that's what did it for me.
Yeah, there's so many things I want to unpack right there, but I just in the interest of getting the full circle part together, right? Obviously we've talked about it. It's been years since we've talked on this type of platform. How many times, if any, have you changed your approach to entrepreneurship given new technology and changes in times? And the reason that I asked is because people often think that running a business is one way and it ends up being another. So how many times have you had to pivot or adjust?
Every year.
Every year.
Every year there's a new adjustment. Every year there's a new goal. Every year there is a new agenda. I never go into the same year with the same steps, the same approach, the same events, the same people. I am activating new relationships. I'm attending new events. I'm activating new conversations every year. See, what's crazy about that entrepreneurship journey is it's nonstop. There's no security. You get what you put out. And that's not even just in hard work. That's also your core, your being, how good you are as a person. All these things will come back to you, but you have to stay consistent. But so every year there was a new agenda, there was a new event, new people I wanted to connect with, new books I'm putting out every single year. And that was on the artist side. The business side, I didn't learn that until maybe 6 years in.
Okay.
Because I didn't know I was a business. And most people really don't. Most Black folks don't. I can say that now. I didn't know. I didn't have no operations. I didn't have no structure. And my companies was registered, but I know nothing about accounting, taxes, tax law, financial literacy, how to build my business credit. I know none of that, which is sad because for the most part, a lot of us really don't. Black folks, we are taught and conditioned to work. We're workers.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the problem. That's the disconnect. And so when I began to discover, hey, wait, this is so hard. And then I'm paying thousands of dollars in taxes every year because I'm making a whole bunch of money.
Right.
Something got to give. Something else has to. So I had to go backwards a little bit. And I had to get my operations in order. Then I had to get all of my paperwork and my licensing and my accounting and all those things in order. And that is a task in itself. And that's the part that we as Black people have a disconnect with when it comes to, because we don't have to build a business on our dime. We can build a business on their dime, on the system's dime, just like all the white folks do. White folks don't use their money. They use credit.
Everybody else's money.
So we can do the same thing. So I had to learn all that the hard way.
I love it. And this is before, of course, LLC Twitter wasn't a thing, when we first started rocking, right? So there was none of these quote unquote gurus and experts around to teach us. So we really had to learn the hard.
Everybody got a workshop.
A workshop and a course. Like that's the new, it's like the phones back in the day. Remember where everybody had a chipped up cell phone? It's the
yes.
That's about. And
you have to take the little chip out and put. Yes, I absolutely remember. Yeah, everybody hustles information.
Yes.
And I think that it's pretty cool that information is at our fingertips, but do your research and do your due diligence as well when you're speaking to these people, because you'll often have people, you go to these web workshops and these seminars and these conferences, and then you listen to these people and that's your Bible. And then you don't do any other research. And often these people are telling you about their journey and how they did it. And I want you to ask, well, what does their journey have to do with your journey? Like, these people aren't effectively teaching. They're just rehashing what they did.
Exactly.
That's not teaching.
Yeah, no, I think there's something to be said for this era that we're in, where everybody's an expert with no resume, right? You're like, I've watched people become
everybody a boss.
Yeah, everybody's a boss. Everybody's a boss. Everybody's a credit expert. A year before that, they were a real estate expert. A year before that, they were selling hair, and now they're Bitcoin experts. And it's just like, come on, man. Which
the Bitcoin, come on. I'm so glad you said it. Everybody feel like they are the what they call the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes.
Everybody think that they are them.
Yeah.
I don't have time to be dealing with these folks that want quick money. And y'all don't know how to do research, and come on.
Yeah. No, one of my mentors a long time ago, he said, Chuck, you don't have to be the expert. He said you never have to be the expert. You just have to surround yourself with people that know where to get the information. And that way you can leverage. So I will never position myself as an expert of anything outside of building relationships and having great conversations, right? I can do that hands down in my sleep.
You good at that part.
And connecting people, like, that's my thing. But I gotta ask you, because your thing is bringing stories to life, right? So you are able to make things so visually stimulating by words and putting stories together. Matter of fact, one of our first conversations, we were talking about the book, He's My Favorite Mistake. And now you have Sugar Hill. And just reading the breakdown, you said she threw herself into her career and settled for a passionless relationship. Now, in my experience, women speak a lot about having to choose between business or relationship. So when you got to that part, what inspired this book and what inspired that specific phrase?
Now you being nosy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what sparked Sugar Hill was my need to understand, because I'm an emotional driven writer. So all of my characters I'm emotionally connected with. It's either my emotions or one of the emotions that's close to me. I'm able to connect.
Okay.
And the dynamic of love is so interesting and it's so weird, right? Because we have this stigma of man, woman, marriage, children, and then the woman, there's sacrifices that we have to make, especially when the children come.
Yes.
And then to maintain what we want, we have to find a way to balance it all. Mm-hmm. And then the man, that's never like the thing to expect. And that for me bothered me, because I was able to dream out loud and then take my children along for the ride with me.
Right.
But then also too, when it came to being with someone for, consistently for a long time,
yes.
I got caught up in what they wanted and what they expected. I personally don't believe that monogamy is a natural thing. I believe that monogamy is a practiced thing.
Okay.
Like, you practice loyalty.
Yeah.
Like, you're not built and you loyal. This is why we have attraction to other people. And so when I found myself connecting with people who had these unrealistic expectations or these insecurities.
Yes.
What you laughing at?
Because okay, so before we finish this segment, I'm laughing. You should see me. I'm kicking my feet like a little 5-year-old on the couch right now, because I watched a segment you did with Nicola Mitchell, who was also on the podcast years ago. And there was this part where you did just this. You were talking about the sacrifices that you've made. And so I know polygamy is like a whole nother avenue that we could go down and discuss. So I just, me, I love conversation.
It is, but I'm not even a polygamist. I'm not. I'm not that.
But just the part of just the part of having, you know, where you said monogamy is a practice thing. Like I've never heard anyone put it like that in terms of a perspective. And regardless of which side you believe, that's the truth, right? That's why they say marriage is work, because you have to do the work to not, I won't say focus on your partner, or, you know, I've been married forever, but I won't say you have to do the work to stay focused, but there is a
stay disciplined
practice. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to stay disciplined with your loyalty.
Yeah.
Your loyalty emotionally and your loyalty physically. That's all that is.
Yeah.
So when you connect with a partner, that partner also has to be comfortable with you. They also have to be just genuinely happy, secure people.
Right.
Because I can sit here and tell you, hey, I don't really believe in monogamy, but all I want is you. That don't mean that I'm about to just go be doing free willy. That just means please don't sit here and expect me to not be looking at another man in the eyes when I'm talking to him.
Right.
Don't sit here and think that when I'm on the road, I'm about to be doing that. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to deceive you.
Right.
I'm not here to use you. I don't want to do any of those things. But what you're asking of me when I go out into the world is unrealistic. It's other people in this world. I'm going to interact and engage with people.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to that sexual element of it, I'm definitely open to my partner and I discussing what that looks like for us.
Right. Right.
And then finding some, an agreement what works for us, not what works for my mama and your granny and your cousin and them. I don't care.
Right.
I'm not with them. I'm with you.
I'm with you.
So that's how I feel. Like
Absolutely.
I want someone that's confident with me and understands that if I have something I want to share and do, or if I feel that I'm being neglected, I can share that with you and we're going to find a solution to fix it. Cause you my A1.
Right.
Like you my ace boom coon. Like you my partner. Like you everything. And I should be able to say these things to you and you not feel like it's rejection or I want something else. No, it's not the case.
Just want
so with Sugar Hill.
Yes. So with Sugar Hill, circling back.
Right, circling back. So with Sugar Hill, I create a character where she meets this perfect stranger that activates a passion in her that she long forgot because she got caught in being loyal to someone that wasn't fulfilling everything that she needed. And I get tired of women doing that, where we feel like we got to stay with old dude because we got history with them or because they love us or whatever the case may be. If we're not happy, what love got to do with it? Especially if he's not trying to change it and make it better, where you can enjoy being with him and you can enjoy your relationship. I think relationships, of course, it's sacrifices, but I gotta live unhappy too? Nah.
Yeah, my dad a long time ago told me, he said, if you can't have fun, don't do it. And that's been my life's mantra forever, with whether it's corporate or entrepreneurship. If I can't have fun, I refuse to do it. And like my body will tell me it's gotten to that point where my body will now tell me I'm not having no fun, Chuck. Like we need to do something. So now these people that tell me you shouldn't have your caffeine in your car. I'm like, listen, y'all work out. I'm going to do about 15, 20 push-ups, had this Cinnabon, right? And then we'll see who's happier at the end of the day.
Okay, see, that's what we're not going to do, Chuck.
Listen, the Cinnabon and
now,
the
we get older, so health is wealth too.
So is happiness.
Okay.
Listen,
you got me on that. If that's Cinnabon, when it stop making you happy, then you know how to switch up. That's it.
Absolutely. I have this and we're totally off the subject here, but I have this thing, right? I'll do my Cinnabon, cheesecake, banana bread, whatever it is. I'll do it for like 30 days. Like that'll be my binge. You know how you have like something sweet every weekend for like 30 days, and then I'll be on my workout thing for 2 months, 3 months, and then all of a sudden it's back to a pack of gummy bears. I
hey, no judgment.
Yeah,
as long as you healthy and you keeping up with your checkups, hey.
Yeah, absolutely. Your boy is my goal.
You know how black men are with doctors.
I'm different. I come from a healthcare background. My mom, right? My dad's ex-military, and so I have a prior career with healthcare. So I'm okay with my checkups. Like if I feel like I can't beat it in 3 days, right? Then I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check on it.
But
It got to pass that 72-hour window. Otherwise, I ain't gonna worry about it.
Not 72-hour window.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's a system it's a system that's working for you.
It's the system. Let me ask you this. On this show, we've talked about imposter syndrome a lot, right? A lot of entrepreneurs have dealt with not feeling good enough for whatever the case is, or being worried about their perceived value in the marketplace. My question for you, Tamika, is now that you're like a speaker, an established CEO and coach, how do you help other people attack their fears in that area?
That's interesting that you said that, because I'm getting ready to create a nonfiction book that helps people identify those elements of themselves that makes them great, and also identify the parts in them that are damaged and dark. That way you can begin to heal from them. Me personally, I've never truly cared about other people's opinions, and I think that's why in the beginning I was really successful, because I was making moves and I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
And I was getting talked about a lot, like by my peers, because I was 20 when I came into the industry, and I was stomping on people's toes that was double my age. And they was like, well, who is this?
Yeah.
And, and they was like, oh, she thinks she all that. She thinks she too good. And then not only that, I was producing award shows, producing festivals. Like I'm dominating every area that you can think of in the publishing industry. And I ain't even 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
They ain't like me. I think the power of not caring is there's a lot of power in not caring, because when you don't care, you're able to move freely. Now, how you get to the place of not caring, that's a personal thing.
Yeah.
That's your own personal confidence. That's your personal security. If you don't feel secure within yourself, let's process that. And so I actually, and this is interesting that you asked that question, because I started a therapy group for writers.
Wow.
Here in Atlanta, because the mindset is our most powerful tool. And a lot of us don't go to therapy. A lot of us don't have those uncomfortable conversations. Right. And we just keep going and going and going. And we walking around smug face, or you not creating, you going to a job that you hate, and then you taking it out on everybody else. When I started this group, it was a consistent group of people that came.
Yeah.
They became published writers. They were glowing, they were flowing, they was leaving situations they didn't want to be in. Some was quitting their jobs and doing some, they were doing a damn, I'm like, look at y'all growing up. Like, it's all about just having that conversation. Yeah. Like, if it's honestly, when, and as you step into that creative space, anyone that's in the creative space or entrepreneur space, as you step into it, you can't get so caught up into the goals. You can't get caught up in the task and checking this off the list. And then you neglect your brain. You eat every day. You bathe every day. At least I hope you do.
I hope you do, right?
Right. You make sure that your body is healthy and things like that. Why are we neglecting this part? This is your most powerful and healthy tool. This is what's going to keep you going time and time and time and time again. And so I think that once you have these conversations and you begin to break down, who am I? What do I like? Yeah. Why I don't like this? How do I need to be loved? What are some of my deepest desires? What are some of my regrets? Like, you really know yourself before you actually start going. Because when people start saying stuff, you don't really matter, because you know you.
I think when that's people where. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut off that thought, but I think that's where a lot of people give up and quit, right? Like, you remember that saying that it's not a saying, it's a scripture or whatever, but your gifts will make way for your purpose, or whatever the case is. I think if you don't know yourself, the expectations around your gift that other people put on you makes you quit, right? You're like, now that's where writers, at least in my experience, that's where they get into their own head. Like, I can't write this book. It's not good enough. I can't finish this business. It's not good enough, because people have seen you do well since you were little, and then they start to wonder what's going on. So how do you work with that part?
How do you work with doubting yourself? Is that the question? Like, this is not good enough. I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
What's interesting, when people say that, because I get people approach me with these projects and things that you want to do all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'd be like, okay, we'll go do it. I don't be understanding what the holdup is. Because honestly, I'm one of those people. And when I said in the beginning, when I discovered self-publishing, I discovered the steps and I did it. And then I was running ever since then, because why not?
Right.
We have technically one life, as they say. But even if we have multiple lives, you're right here in this one. And I really want to enjoy this one. So if you're going to sit here and tell yourself you're not good enough, I don't think nobody's going to enjoy this. I don't think nobody's going to like this. I don't think I can do it. Okay, you can't. Next subject.
Wow. Just that simple. Okay.
Because your words have power. You spoke it over your own life. You told me that you weren't good enough. You told me ain't nobody gonna want to read this. Nobody's gonna want to watch this. You said it. So you suck.
Wow.
So when I start saying that and I start agreeing with them, it settles in them differently. Because I think people tend to do that because they're self-destructing. Like, it's sometimes you're afraid of change. They're comfortable and they don't want to get out of that comfort zone. So they start self-sabotaging. So I'm gonna help you out. And how that feel when I say that? How that make you feel?
Right.
Well, you just said it to yourself. So why when I say it, it's a problem? Why when I say it, there's a different effect? You said it first. I'm following you. Wow. That's how I approach that. I'm gonna flip it back on you. Okay, cool. You suck. Ain't nobody gonna read it then.
Wow. Wow. And you know, the bad part now is when you put it like that, it's like, how dare me speak to myself like that? Right?
Exactly. That's the part that is pissing me off. It pisses me because we are so great. Y'all don't understand. Black folks are the root of everything.
Yes.
When it comes to entertainment, when it comes to style, when it comes to how the roads and the cities are built, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to history, do y'all not understand? We come from kings and queens and these rich lands with gold and all these princes, and come on, this is where we come from. We come from strong history. So you want to sit here and say pretty much that you're not shit. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you're not.
I guess you're not. You're like, we are. I guess you not. You know what I mean? Like, that's
I guess you not.
Crazy.
I am. And you know what? And I'm gonna make sure everybody knows.
Right.
And I'm gonna do everything that I want to do. And I'm gonna go and make my dreams come true. That's me.
That is so funny. You're really giving me that face you were just making. You remember Miss Smile Bright from In Living Color?
Yes.
That was just making me feel like that's hella funny. Miss Smile Bright, 1985. Want to see? Question for you. Do you ever feel like the genre specifically for African-American writers doing their romance novels, and I know that other races do their novels the same way, right? There's only so many genres you can do. Do you ever feel like the romance novels for us is limited in vision?
Of course. But I think we began to change that narrative because we started coming out with street fiction.
Okay.
Trap, stories about the trap.
Yes.
Stories about pimps and prostitutes and not only that, then we took it a step further. We started creating our own world that don't exist. So now we have people in sci-fi, fantasy. We have vampire books and all these goblins and goblins. And I'm like, look at us being creative. So and I think we had those limits in everything that we did. I was listening to Kevin Samuels last night, and he used a great example. Robert Townsend put out a movie called Hollywood Shuffle in 1989.
Yes.
And Hollywood Shuffle was like a spoof of these stigmas and these black roles they put us in, like the mammy, the hoe, the pimp. Like he was making fun of all of that.
Right.
Because that was all the roles Hollywood wanted to give us. Until we said, man, bump that. I want to be a princess.
Yeah.
Or bump that. I want to be in the fantasy world. I want to fly and I want to have wings. Or bump that. I want to show black love and what that looked like. So we started getting stuff like Love Jones.
Yeah.
And Love and Basketball. And not only that, now moving forward, thousands of books written by us are out there. Hundreds of content of shows and movies is now streaming on all these different platforms. You got screenwriters and producers, not the actor, but the actual screenwriters and producers on the cover of the magazine.
Yeah.
They in the interview and tour. They being talked to about why they created this show, why they wrote this film. We are now getting the recognition that we so deserved then. But yeah, in the book world, yeah, we were in a box. Like we were definitely that, but we're not that anymore.
Yeah. I had Tamala Baldwin on the show a while back. And she was saying that a lot, you know, similar to what you were just saying, a lot of Black authors and Black creators are now getting those Netflix deals and those Hulu deals and Facebook TV and all those different things. And she said the new barrier is that we're not in the room to green light those projects. Right. And so now it becomes, yes, you can tell the story. Yes, you can write the book. You could be a millionaire from doing so. But when it's time to put it on the screen, now that's the new barrier. How do you feel about that? Having so many titles under your belt. I know
that's crazy you asked this question. I was just having this conversation earlier today about, okay, we need more faces like ours, like a Tyler Perry. We need more of those. We need more people that controls the content that's going to green lights the content because they can control what we see. We had a long period of Love and Hip Hop BS. We had a long period of where we seeing these Black women act the fool on TV. We had a long period of seeing our Black men in dresses. We had a long period of just BS content.
Yeah.
There's an audience for it, and it's deteriorating our brain. And I think that,
I think it set us back. You know, I think Love and Hip Hop. I say it every time, anytime somebody brings up Love and Hip Hop, I will say that yes, I'm glad for the jobs and all that, but it set Black women especially back so far to me. And just the value that they bring to the table, it set them back too far.
It's fun to be a girlfriend. Like it's fun to be considered like a hoe. It's fun to open your legs wide open on camera for everybody to see what your mama gave you. Like what we doing?
Right.
That's what we doing.
Right. And then on the back end, you want to have this conversation about the man not valuing you for who you really are. Like, come on, man. You can't have it both ways. Unfortunately, you can't have it both ways.
Unfortunately, but then social media, they make it seem like it's okay because these girlfriends are having these babies and they carrying them around like it's a Louis Vuitton bag. Like they having babies as an accessory.
Yeah.
And then you got these young folks thinking it's the same. No, they had babies like the dudes that got money.
Right.
Yo dude broke.
Right. Yo dude
That's
broke.
not gonna work.
And he was broke before the baby. So you just made a bad decision worse because now you asking him to do something that he couldn't do.
And it speaks volumes to your self-esteem. What we doing?
I love
it. Doing?
I love it. Oh my God. That is hilarious.
It's a lot. We can dive into this a lot, but it is on us to stop greenlighting that BS content that sets us back, that keeps showing that we're ignorant. The only good thing about us is our bodies. Like you see women now getting their butts injected and getting these fake butts.
Yeah.
But then there's a history of African women being placed into the zoo against their will.
Absolutely.
So that women can look at their backside. So people can come and just, gawk at them and look at their huge butts.
Yeah.
And they were used and abused. But now y'all want to go and look like that? Y'all disrespecting these women that felt like they had to go through this. They were taken away from their family and put on display like they were an animal.
Right. I totally agree.
And then everybody's butt looks the same.
Everybody's butt looks the same. They all look. It's stupid. Two key doctors in every state that got
weird
control over all the butts. Yeah, it's
the same ant body. It's like you know how the ants are with the ants with two little balls in the back.
Oh my God, we're so off track at this point. I watched. Oh my God, so I watched the video. No, it's perfectly fine. It's funny because I watched a video not too long ago where there was a guy. It may have been like a reel or Instagram TV, but similarly, he was saying that he's not even excited about watching butts no more because they're so readily available. It's like it's not even an enticement, thing anymore.
It's not, because you can just open up your phone and see a butt, a nipple.
Yeah, and so he was saying he started reading
everything but the dangle thing in the middle. Like
he was, you are a mess. He said that now he's starting to read more books just so he can spark his imagination again. And I thought that was important because I think the one thing that books will never go out of style for is because they're always interpreted differently by someone, right? What I read is what I get, and the image that comes in my mind is different from what the next reader will get.
It's a different experience.
So tell me about Black Writers Weekend.
And it's interesting that now you loop that in, because that's the whole purpose of Black Writers Weekend, is to give people that experience that in the pages, but being able to talk about these stories, talk about these characters, and then engage with the people that created them. And I've been curating experiences around books for over 10 years now, with the sole purpose of the fact that book signings was born. And I was bored at my book signing. That's when I realized, somebody, this is boring. It's boring. Like, what we doing? I'm gonna read to you like you 5? Like, this is stupid. So I wanted to create something that's more engaging.
Yes.
And so Black Writers Weekend has parties, socials, tastings, brand activations. And I took it a step further by bringing in networks such as Netflix, Amazon, BT, OWN, and bringing in these creators and these writers, these producers for those networks, so we can continue the conversations around even their content. Yeah. Why? Like, and we'll dive into the bigger subject matter. If it's on love, if it's on culture appropriation, if it's on religion, if it's on sex, if it's on childhood traumas, like we have specific topics and things that we activate around these books. And then writers are able to then obviously sign their books, take pictures, and then we party. Like, I mean, party. We have real parties because we are the real rock stars.
Absolutely.
Without us, without writers, you wouldn't have music, you wouldn't have movies, you wouldn't have TV shows, you wouldn't have anything. So we are number one. So I want us to be treated like the rock stars that we are. So I make sure I have at least 2 parties throughout the weekend. I involve alcohol. So we always have alcohol sponsors.
Okay.
And we do tastings. We have mixologists coming in, and people can mix their own drinks. Obviously, there's food. Oh. This year we'll be at a coffee house. And so we're going to do some liquored coffees and stuff like that too.
So this, wait, because this now serves as my official invitation if you're doing liquor and coffee. Because if you're doing brown liquor and coffee, I'm on the way.
First of all, why I have to invite you to come? See, hold on. Y'all see that? I ain't got to invite you to come. States. Just bring you back.
We in different states. I don't care. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I don't care.
This is a first on the show, guys. I ain't never been put in my place on my own show, but Tamika Newhouse is going to make sure that happens for the first time, where she says, Chuck, shut up, just bring your butt. So, okay.
Right, I did say I don't care. But come on, man. Like, why I got to invite you to come for? Like, you can come. I'm talking to you about it. And everybody, and everybody that's listening, y'all can come too. What y'all gonna be? Y'all listening to about I have to invite y'all too? No. Everybody's invited. I want you to come. I want you to enjoy yourself. Yes. I want you to engage. I want you to network. I want you to have fun. Like, Black Writers Weekend is always fun, especially for y'all, because y'all don't have to do the work.
Listen, I think it would be amazing to be in the room, because I can imagine the partnerships that come out of something like that. Like when you're saying there's alcohol sponsors, I'm now thinking of Real Dope Coffee. I'm thinking of Uncle Nearest, the whiskey, like, and I'm thinking of all the writers that reach out. Like, I'm excited about it. So not only am I gonna come, I'm gonna be a host. I'm gonna be the person that curates conversations. So I'll be there at this point.
Okay. So, fortunately for you, yes, you are. So let me go ahead and write your name down.
Absolutely.
And I will send you some information, because you already put it out there. Don't play with me. Do not play with. I will put you to work.
We are so serious right now. That's the reason that we do this podcast. I am absolutely 3,000% serious. I think that one of the things that I want to do with the Hawk Vision podcast is curate a network of people that can say, oh, you were on the show? I already know you're good. right? And
like you ain't gonna be having no BS.
Yeah,
like
everybody that's been on is certified. Exactly.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons that we have the show, is to create a network. And even for my clients and my guests, if you look through the guest list, there's nobody on that show, or that's been on the show, that you have to do additional research about. Like now you can watch their style, you can watch their how we interact. They're good people. So if you trust me, you can absolutely sign off on the guest. And somebody that has been in the game as long as you have, that's still fresh, still new, still gaining new readers, new clients. Like, who better to rock with?
This is right. You absolutely right. Who better? So Chuck, you better bring your ass on to Atlanta. It is June 11th through the 13th.
Okay.
So it's 3 days.
Okay.
And we can definitely have you curate some stuff, but you're gonna have some fun too.
Listen, you're the second guest, you're the third guest to tell me to come to Atlanta. I don't know if you're familiar with Denise the broker. She runs the largest woman-owned real estate brokerage in Atlanta, has like 80 agents working for her. And she was like, Chuck, if you and Tennille don't come down here and buy y'all some real square footage, because in California we doing real good out here, but what our money would do in Atlanta is different.
It will stretch so much, because the Bay Area is expensive.
It is.
It can stretch a lot further down here in Atlanta. And then it's Black Hollywood. It's always been Black excellence in Atlanta.
Yes.
This is why I love the city of Atlanta so much, because it don't really matter what you do, whether it's in fashion, whether you are a cook, whether you're a photographer, a painter, real estate, you got a cleaning business, whatever the case may be, you can come here and flourish and prosper in whatever it is you want, even with Uber. You know why? Because everybody in here moving around and going somewhere.
Yeah, and they all liquored up.
Ain't no excuse.
You've been able to create the one thing I think all entrepreneurs strive for, and that's a community, right? So you have a community of people that listen to you, love you. You've influenced them to their own levels of greatness, and you've managed to leverage Patreon in a way that a lot of people haven't put the two and two together yet. Can you talk to me about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm asked often by writers, questions about publishing, business, et cetera, and I can always consult you and give you these answers technically. But honestly, like, to maintain this journey, you sometimes need your tribe, or you need that constant person where you can lean on, that's rooting you on, that's guiding you. And so with Patreon, I decided to do that. So every 6 months, I've taken a new class of dreamers, because it's called Dream Out Loud.
Okay.
And I'm helping you activate your dreams and then dream out loud, when you open your eyes, everything that you wanted to see actually is out there. Like, you're seeing it. You've manifested, you did the work, and now you're living it. And so I identify what each of my mentees need. And then we put a plan together, and together we work through that plan to get them there. And so we can reactivate their dreams every 6 months, and they can stay with me, et cetera, or they can grow and flow. But I have done this for hundreds of writers so far, and I'm like, okay, I think I want to kind of just officially continue to do this, because I have so much wealth of knowledge. Yeah. And then I don't like to sugarcoat, because that's not how the world works. So if you're going to be under my wing, just be prepared to work. Be prepared to actually have what it is that you want. Because I don't half-ass do anything.
Right.
I don't wish upon a star. I don't sit here and hope and pray. I actually do the work. I discover the steps and I do the work. And then I find a way to maintain, my dream. So my Patreon, it's set up to where you build up your confidence, you build up your network, you build your resources, and you discover the things that you need to make your journey work. And so if you want to be mentored by me and you ready for it, come on.
I love it. I love it. What do you say?
Oh, and it's Patreon.
It's
patreon.com/Traces of Mika. Traces of Mika, Mika, all one word.
Which is also the name of the podcast. So let's jump on in that too. Let's jump in.
Cool. So I developed a podcast which chronicles my life. So it's a memoir. And through conversations, I talk about my experiences through business, through relationships, through motherhood, through mental health, through self-discovery, through losing my mother, to various traumas. I talk about it all on this podcast. And then also I used to record myself when I was a child, and I was like a PK kid. Yeah. So I prayed a lot. I created original gospel music a lot. And I took these cassette tapes and I extracted the audio and I created skits in between these conversations. So you're able to see, hear young Mika and then witness current Mika in the state. And so season 1 is streaming now. It's on everything like Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Yes. Just ask Alexa to play me.
I love it. It used to be Google me. Now it's Ask Alexa.
Yeah, ask Alexa. Yeah, I upgraded. And then season 2, I added a visual element to it. So it's almost like a reality show. You come into my home and I have these conversations about my life. And so for the first time, I talk about the biggest trauma of all, which was my struggle with motherhood. And it all started from just a traumatic experience in my marriage where my husband was convicted of raping another woman while we were married. Whoa. And through that trauma, and I was at the height of my writing career when this happens. And I didn't expose and talk about this because I had very young children. Yes. And then I loved and cared for, my ex. So I'm not about to just put that out there. Right. But when all this happened, I was traveling every month. I was garnering these book deals and I was working with these different networks. But at home, everything was destroyed. It was dismantled. And I had to carry everything without him carrying nothing. He felt like I had to save the day. Right. And so I talk about how that affected me and how I was able to maintain. So this is why I be telling folks when they have excuses about their dreams, the things they want to do, back to back, I experienced the most horrible things that you can think of. And my mother just didn't pass. My mother died in front of me. And then my marriage just ends. My husband committed a crime that destroyed our whole family dynamic. Right. And then through that, my relationship with my children was destroyed as well. It was just back-to-back things that should have took me out. Yeah. I should say, like, you know what, God, I'm good with this life. Let's start over. Because it was just so much going on.
I'm mad you put it
so
like
I
that.
Talk about it. I gotta sometimes you gotta laugh about it because I was in such a dark space that now it's like, okay, I know it's other people in a dark space. Right. I know you feel like, dang, like what we doing? Like, God, like these are the cards that you want me to play. Right. I don't want to do this. Like, this is, you're not giving me nothing. And so I have to really talk about it and kind of purge some of that past trauma. And through these conversations is healing. And so season 2 is actually called The Other Side of Healing. When I talk about how I discovered my own traumas, my own faults, and I took accountability in my own pain so that I can move forward. And I think that's the biggest key for people to take accountability because yes, bad things happen. Yes. But what did you do? What did you do in spite of? How did you deal with it? How did you move forward? So what is your part that you did? And let's talk about that and let's move forward because everything didn't just happen to you. Right. Things happen, but what are you doing to get out of it? What are you doing to move, past it or to live through it? So I talk about that on my podcast.
Wow. And that's a whole nother segment because a lot of people get caught in the middle of the pain, right? It paralyzes a lot of people. And not to the point where you're not moving, but just to the point where you can't get past it, right? You could go through the motions. You could go to work the next day. You can, go to brunch. You can do mimosas. But when you come home and take the clothes off and turn the lights off or whatever the case is, it still sits with you. And so I want to commend you that you were able to push past that. I know it's not easy. I know it's not.
It's not, and it's still an everyday thing because when you have those feelings, you develop habits. Yeah. And I personally drank a bottle of vodka would be gone every 2 days for a whole year. I was a drunk. I was a functioning alcoholic. But it was that experience that taught me what I should not do, what I can't do. I got through it. Now I know I don't want to do that no more. Because when you in it, it's like, I honestly felt like Chuck, I honestly felt that I can't get through this.
Yeah.
I can't get happy. I can't discover it. I don't know what else to do, guys. Like I don't know. Yeah. It was just so much. And I think you have to allow yourself to feel that pain. You can't ignore it.
You can't.
You can't drink your way through it.
Although we
have
try.
to keep it
we try it, and
right. We will try that.
We will try.
And it doesn't work. It actually makes it worse. And again, this is why I talk about the brain, because this is what helped me get through it. Every single day, I'm gonna have to make a choice to live. Every single day, I had to make a choice to do something different, to get out of my house, to do something new, to go for a run, to have a conversation with a friend, to pray today. Like, you have to be intentional with your happiness, just like you're intentional with your dreams. You can discover the steps to make your dreams come true. Okay, then we'll discover the things you need to do to be happy. Simple. And it's not easy either.
No, it's not.
It's not easy. It's very, very hard. And there's no time stamp on this either, because life is a revolving door of choices and experiences. It's never going to stop. You're going to always be experiencing something. It's the choices that you make around those experiences, which is going to determine if you're going to have a good life or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to play the church organ right now. Like, this is the part where...
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you good. I just... I'm a fan of, as you know, I'm a fan of natural conversations, but more so, I am a fan of the thought process to success. And this is the thing that we often, like you said, we'll go to the gym so our legs look right. You know, we'll do push-ups so our arms and chest look right. Go to the barbershop. We'll go to the hair shop. We don't do a lot of work on our brains and mental space because it's on autopilot. Like, it works regardless. You know what I mean? But how it works is up to us. And so I could let that rock all day long. Getting close to wrapping up, I do have like a rapid fire section for you. And part of me knows that you are going to kill this. The other part is like, I need a bleep button just in case, because I know you're going to give it the way that you want to give it. So, I give a word, you give your natural response. First word is visionary. That's the safe one. First word is visionary.
Doer.
Okay.
Doer.
Second word, excuses.
Lazy.
Third word, confusion.
Lost.
Fourth word, pain.
Ooh, I don't have a word. Temporary.
Let's stop on that one. Why do you say temporary?
Because pain is temporary.
But we just talked about
so is happiness.
Okay.
Pain is temporary. Happiness is temporary. Hunger is temporary. Like, when you hungry, you feed yourself.
Right.
When you in pain, you try to heal yourself. When you're happy, sometimes that withers away because life is not, blue skies and rainbows every day. Yeah. So pain is temporary. It comes and goes. And you're supposed to get better with managing that pain as you get older. You ain't supposed to do the same thing over and over again. That's stupid. They call that sanity. Crazy people.
Insanity, yeah. Next word is motivation.
Power.
Commitment.
Strong.
Motherhood.
Sacrifice.
Love.
Passion.
That's my next word. Passion.
Fulfillment.
I love it. Tamika Newhouse is in a room with 3,000 people, and they've all read one book. Which one do you hope it was?
Cookie.
Why? I'm talking in my high voice.
Because
I'm a fan of it. But go ahead, Cookie, because
right, like which one you want me to say?
I was, you know, we had a really good. I gotta send you that audio, but I'm a fan of He's My Favorite Mistake, right? So I'm a fan of that one. I'm a fan of, I can't remember. There's another one that's kind of equal to that, and I haven't read.
Yeah, I had the Ultimate No-No.
That's
the Ultimate No-No was my 4-part series.
Yes. So I think I got maybe the third. I haven't done all 4, but I think I got the third. So ultimately,
hey,
I got
that's
4
okay. I'm about to re-release all them, so you have time.
All right, let's go. So Cookie, because why?
Because Cookie is a coming of age story and is based off of real life. And I feel like there is a Cookie in all of us, where we're young, we're naive, and then we experience these life traumas. And then sometimes we don't really understand those initial teachings that give us grounding, that grounds us, and builds our character.
Yeah.
And I think that when people identify and when they read Cookie, not only do they enjoy it, and I just had somebody just hit me up that they read it in one day, but they start to self-reflect. And I'm all about, right now, these days, I'm all about self-healing. I'm all about your true happiness, because I've lived so many years unhappy, and I lived so many years making other people happy. So I'm always advocating for your own true happiness. And Cookie, I feel, is that book that people will be able to connect with more for that sole purpose of self-reflection, and then living it in your own truth and just being happy.
I love it. I love it. Last word is belief.
Morals.
That's strong. That's strong. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been rocking with one of the most amazing women that I've ever had the joy of being in touch with. I thank Twitter for people like you, right? Because that's how we got together, you know, talking on Twitter all back in the day. And there's no one more genuine, no one that I look forward to more to tell it like it is and still be able to be motivational and positive on the other side. So I am absolutely a fan. Let everybody know where they can find you online.
Well, guys, I'm pretty simple, and this balls into branding. So everything is my name. So Tamika is Tamika. My last name is Newhouse. Like I bought a new $1 million house. So that's Newhouse. So all together is Tamika Newhouse. That's .com. Tamika Newhouse on Instagram. Tamika Newhouse on Twitter. Tamika Newhouse on Facebook, or Boss Lady Tamika. And then my podcast on YouTube, search Traces of Mika. Subscribe to my channel.
Yes.
I have original content on there. You can listen to all the episodes of my podcast, as well as my debut acting role. I made a visual to my romance novel, Sugar Hill.
I saw that
on my YouTube channel.
I saw that. Who's this woman thinking she is with all this black lace? And let me, you know what? Good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Kylie. And I'm going to be putting out a lot more original content on my YouTube channel. Even some of my exhibits I'm putting together. I'm about to produce my first photo exhibit. And so you guys be able to kind of go into, you know, my world by just subscribing to my YouTube channel. And then if you are a writer, and if you want to get behind the scenes or extra access to me, my Patreon, go to patreon.com/Traces of Mika.
Absolutely thankful that you gave us some of your time. I know that you could be doing anything in the world right now, literally, because you make things happen.
Taking a nap.
You just sleep. but because you make things happen. So I am a fan. I am grateful that you shared some of your experiences and insights and advice. Guys, you have been rocking with the great one, Tamika Newhouse. This is the Hawk Vision podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all of the things that we're supposed to say at the end of these podcasts. Most importantly, follow Tamika. I'm telling you, there's never been another story told. There's never been a better story told than Tamika Newhouse. Make sure you share this with other visionaries just like you.